Ready to pass the CPA exam faster? Visit cpapass.ai. Today, how to study for AUD without getting lost. Why does AUD have one of the most frustrating fail rates on the CPA exam, even for candidates who easily aced FAIR? It is because AUD is not a math test. It is a complex reading, comprehension, and logic test. You cannot calculate your way out of a highly subjective audit risk question. Most candidates get completely lost in the dry 500-page textbook, trying to memorize endless lists of professional standards. They study 25 hours a week, but still score a 68 because they are preparing for the wrong exam. Let's break down the exact strategy to pass AUD without getting lost in the textbook weeds. Yeah, the first major trap is memorization overkill. Candidates try to memorize every single reporting standard, transaction cycle, and audit report word for word. But the examiners do not want a parrot. They want an auditor who can think critically. When you try to memorize 100 different report variations, your brain short circuits under exam day pressure. Instead, you need to understand the structural logic behind the reports. Once you master the core structure of an unmodified opinion, you can easily spot the deviations in qualified, adverse, or disclaimer reports. Stop memorizing and start analyzing the structural differences. The second trap is the simulation time sink. AUD simulations are notoriously heavy on exhibits. You will open a single task-based simulation and find 6 different PDF attachments, meeting minutes, internal control memos, and ledger details. If you try to read all of these cover to cover before looking at the actual questions, you will run out of time. Candidates spend 45 minutes on a single simulation, get overwhelmed, and panic. You must learn to navigate these exhibits with surgical precision. Let's look at how we reverse engineer these massive simulations to save your time and your sanity. Step 1 of our strategy is reverse engineering your study sessions. Instead of reading the textbook chapter first, jump straight into doing 30 multiple choice questions on that topic. Yes, you will get many of them wrong initially, and that is completely fine. Doing questions first primes your brain to look for the actual concepts being tested. When you finally open the study notes, you will immediately recognize what matters and what is just filler. This active learning approach cuts your study time in half, keeps you highly engaged, and builds real world problem solving skills. Step 2 is to master the assertions. Financial statement assertions are the absolute backbone of the AUD exam. If you do not master existence, completeness, valuation, and rights and obligations, you will fail AUD. Every single transaction cycle question, internal control question, and substantive procedure simulation traces back to these assertions. Do not just memorize their definitions. You must understand which procedure tests which assertion. For example, tracing from source documents to the ledger tests completeness, while vouching from the ledger back to source documents tests existence. Master this direction, and you master AUD. Step 3 is the daily cumulative review. AUD is a highly conceptual exam, and if you do not review constantly, you will forget everything you learned in week 1 by the time you reach week 4. Every single day before you start your new topic, do a cumulative review of 20 random MCQs covering all previous sections. This keeps the older material fresh in your mind and prevents the dreaded forgetting curve. By doing this, you will never have to spend weeks doing a massive, stressful re-review at the very end of your study journey. Step 4 is mastering the TBS exhibit drill. When you face a heavy simulation, do not panic. First, read the actual input requirements so you know exactly what numbers or decisions you need to find. Second, open the exhibits one by one and write down a single sentence summary of what each document contains on your scratch paper. This creates a mental map of your resources. Third, locate the specific data points needed for each input row. This structured approach prevents you from drowning in information and helps you finish simulations in under 15 minutes. And when candidates switch from dry textbook memorization to this active problem first strategy, their AUD scores skyrocket. Take Sarah, who failed AUD twice with a 65 and a 69 using traditional study methods. She felt completely lost. Once she shifted to doing MCQs first, mastering the assertions, and running daily cumulative reviews, she passed with an 82 in just 4 weeks. IUD is not an IQ test, it is a process test. When you change your study process, you change your exam results. You can absolutely do this with the right system. Ready to stop getting lost in AUD and start studying the smart way? Head over to cpapass.ai right now. You can join our active community of CPA candidates who are using these exact strategies to pass their exams faster. On CPApass.ai, you will get access to over 20,000 practice multiple choice questions and task based simulations. You can take full length mock exams to drill your weak areas and track your progress. Best of all, you can start completely free with free practice questions every single day with no credit card required. Go to CPApass.ai today